All right. Welcome to episode 3 of Live from the Tobey House. I'm Fred,
I'm Mark.
and we've got a really good show for you tonight. We promised you that over time we would bring you characters from Sandwich, and I think we've got a pretty good one.
We do. We
Yeah.
absolutely do.
We've got Bob King, and he has no shortage of stories, so we'll let him tell them. But we'll bring him on after we do our intros here. But first, we want to thank everyone who subscribed and commented and liked and shared. It's really great, and we read every one of these comments. So
We do.
you
Yep.
you called out a few that you saw.
Yeah. So Warren from London wrote in with a really great idea about putting links to things that we talk about on the episode for folks who maybe aren't familiar with Sandwich or aren't from the area. So Warren from London, we listened on our website on the homepage at the top. There is a links page, and we're adding links with every episode, so you can click on those and get more information about what we talked about. At mlock7703 wrote in about Fred getting your steps in around the yard.
And I don't know if you can appreciate the slope down to the water, but that's quite a workout.
Yeah, I was you couldn't tell because we had that cool what do they call that thing again?
The
stabilizer. The stabilizer, yeah.
Gimbal.
But I was trying real hard not to slip when we were going, and you couldn't tell from that video. That's a pretty cool gimbal.
Yeah.
At Nathan May wrote in, thanks for the information on the snake. He mentioned that he thinks it's some kind of water snake. And also gave us a good tip here. Red on yellow kills a fellow. Red on black, friend of Jack.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
all right.
Yep.
Good tip to know.
Keep that in mind. And then, Tom Mulvey wrote in, good luck with your home purchase of your antique house in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 1700s.
I think
he bought his house.
I think so. Yeah. So good luck. You're in good company.
Yeah. Keep watching. I'll have some tips for you for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's great. So, but one thing we didn't get a lot of comments on was our top 10 tools every new homeowner needs. I guess we hit the mark.
We nailed it.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yep.
Although we did have one person about the Leatherman.
Yes, yeah, we did have one comment that a user wasn't familiar with the term Leatherman. They called it a multi-tool. So
yeah, well, that's it. Leatherman's kind of become the Kleenex of multi-tools.
The Xerox,
right?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would like to thank Fred. I had a birthday the other day, and Fred gave me my very own Leatherman. So
Your first Leatherman.
My first
Leatherman. Now you know you're an adult. Now you're a grown up. You got your
time.
Leatherman.
Yeah. So I'm having fun. I haven't discovered all the things yet, but I did find a big knife in it this afternoon when I was playing. That was kind of cool.
Okay.
So
and just so people know, this is take 2 of this opening intro because my fly was down for take 1. So
I love that you owned that.
Oh no,
Yeah, right?
I think people like to know that. Yeah. For those people who watch me on Patriots Unfiltered, you're not surprised. If it's not a stain on my shirt, it's my fly being down. So, all right. So now, with all that, we should bring on our guest.
All right, you guys ready for Bob?
All right, let's bring Bob on.
All right, here he comes.
All right, as promised, the one and only Bob King. Bob, welcome to Live from the Tobey House.
Well, thank you for having me.
And you are our first live guest.
I feel honored. Wow.
We're honored. It's all our honor.
Yeah, I'm still alive. Right?
Yeah.
So what makes Bob King so special?
God, absolutely nothing. I don't know. It's funny because a lot of people will say to me, oftentimes, well, you know everybody. And I will always say, well, I fed them for 40 years.
Right.
And so, that's sort of my claim to fame.
You and Tobin are one of the restaurateurs here in Sandwich. But tell us when you first got to Sandwich and why you stayed.
Ironically enough, the very first time I came to Sandwich was when I was in high school. It was during the summer after 10th grade, and a friend of mine said, my mother will let Terry O'Neill and I ride to Cape Cod to where they're camping, but not without a boy along. And we lived in Duxbury. So believe it or not, I got on my one-speed bike with them that morning. We rode all the way down Route 3A, pushed our bikes over the bridge.
Wow.
Came.
That's that's a good 20
Yeah,
miles,
it's a long,
25 miles.
it was a
Yeah.
long
Oh,
ride. Yeah.
yeah.
And I had remember those Stingray bikes?
Oh yeah, banana seat.
Yeah, the
So
banana
you're
seat,
coming. Yeah,
that was me.
Yep.
So,
Did you have the
all
thing in
the
the
way.
back?
I might have,
Yeah, the
Oh, yeah, the
spoiler.
big spoiler. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
I don't think I did.
Okay.
I was a deprived child. So anyway, we push our bikes over the bridge. We head down Old Main Street. We stop and get a drink at the Artesian Well.
Yep.
We ended up at the time, Quail Hollow was open. And I'll tell you, that was a phenomenal farm stand. And, they just blew Martha Stewart out of the water. They were like really ahead of their time. So the lighting, the setting, the quality of produce, everything was just absolutely stunning. And it really stuck with me. And we all bought like an apple or an orange or whatever. And then we went and walked across to the Wing School and sat under the big trees. And I can remember saying to my friends that day, this is exactly the kind of town I want to live in when I grow up.
Okay.
So we ride on. I don't pay, and I'm not even paying attention to where we're going because we never came to Cape Cod on vacation. We always went to New Hampshire where my father and grandfather had built a camp. Right.
Right.
So
So you
I'm
biked here. Yeah.
and I'm like mesmerized. Wow, this is an incredible place. It's beautiful. And then fast forward, I'm not even thinking about that. And I finished college and I'm like, what am I going to do with my life? And I thought, well, I've worked my way through college running a restaurant. So I was very fortunate. I worked for some people who were starting a restaurant for the first time. They virtually knew nothing. And so I learned so many lessons at their expense that I have to give them credit for that.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, the thing I seem to kind of know the most about is running a restaurant. Maybe I should buy a restaurant. Very naive. Answered like a Boston Globe ad. Went to Hyannis. I was shown a bunch of defunct pizza shops. And then the guy said to me, I'm not going to go with you, but on your way off Cape, there's this little restaurant in Sandwich called Marshland, and it's for sale. And the guy is, his lease is going to be up in a few months, and he's already sold the equipment to the landlord. He's just looking to sell the business because the landlord was afraid, what I want to have, something to rent. So, so I took a look, and I thought, I could work with this. This was, I thought, it just struck me as my intuition is something that could work and
Was it open at the
freestanding.
time?
It was, but
Okay.
it was, really just stumbling along. I mean,
Okay.
there wasn't, for example, like we'd set the tables, there wasn't enough silverware to set the tables. There really wasn't a printed menu per se. It was kind of like everybody that went there knew there were just these certain things,
Yeah.
A lot of fishermen went there first thing in the morning. That was a tradition. So the guy who owned it was an avid golfer, addicted really. And every morning he would open, serve these fishermen, sort of hang out till 7 o'clock, and then a cook would come in and a waitress, and he'd hit the road and go golf every day. So we show up and decide, yeah, we'll make a deal. And we did. And that was in 1982. And created the menu, we spruced the place up a bit.
Yeah.
I remember, we had didn't really have any money. So one of the things we did was we went and bought a big book of Audubon prints. And then we found boxes of old frames, and we would take the glass out of the frame and line it up to the print with an X-Acto knife, and then cut it out and put it in the frame and pop it.
Yeah,
So it was like
perfect,
kind of Martian, the whole idea of it being marshland with, birds. And so we kind of, went off that theme and we collaged the walls with those, and we put up special boards, and we had kind of a whole concept, and it really worked. It was there was a great place.
It's still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always say it's a classic American diner style place. So
You want your meatloaf to get the prime rib special on Friday nights.
and your turkey dinner. So it's great. And then, but we didn't own the real estate, and we were working hard, and we were also in the right place at the right time. Let me tell you, there were no Dunkin' Donuts. There was no, there was nothing.
Yeah.
It was really. But then again, the population was very small, but there was very little competition.
Yeah.
And so it's funny because we bought the place in the middle of March, and I would say, slowly the word got around town like, hey, Marshland has new owners. It's different.
Go check it out.
And in fact, one of the fixtures there, Eileen Alden, was a woman who worked there. I don't know. She must have been there for 40 years. She came in one day to fill in for another waitress who I didn't even know was going on vacation. I walk in, I go, who are you?
Who are you? Right? Yeah.
She says, oh, I'm Eileen. I go,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
yeah. And
You're
oh, yeah,
right.
Mary's on vacation and I'm filling in for her this week. And I go, well, do you know the menu? Do you
Right.
know
Yeah.
do you know how we work?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she's like, yeah. Well, by the time Mary got home the following week, we were busy enough. We needed 2 waitresses.
Wow.
So she stayed
So
on.
she stayed
Oh,
on. And
perfect.
she basically, everybody who ever went to Marshland will always remember Eileen. She was a waitress and then she sort of semi-retired into the bakery.
Okay. Yeah.
And then she, she finally retired.
Yep.
She was a mainstay of the place.
That is great. So you showed up for work one day
Yeah.
and somebody you had no idea is like, I'm here, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
And you just went with it.
Yeah. And I was like, well, what choice did I have?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
Okay, here we
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
it's like Costanza when he showed up at work and was like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. What?
did we hire you?
Yeah.
Right. Yes, you did. Yeah. Yes.
And it was great, worked out really well. So and she stayed forever. And then in 1992, there was a building which is now Father's. It was the first edition, and then over the years, it was Eli's. It was very successful.
Okay.
It was the Buccaneer. It was the Signal. It was La Rochelle's. So it had seen many incarnations, but I think the one that was sort of the most successful was Eli's, and he ended up moving to Scituate and opening the tavern there that's beyond the harbor, and they used to have a lot of events. But at any rate, that I digress. So it became available. It was basically an abandoned building.
So Father's is down on 6A, kind of East Sandwich.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And once and so it was a non-performing asset on Sandwich Co-op Bank's balance sheet.
Yep.
They were looking to unload it. And those were the days when like who you were mattered.
Yeah.
Like because today in banking, it's like, show me the numbers.
Yep. Yep.
Show me the money. Whereas like who we were, what we did, our work ethic, all being evident to them, having already
you
put in
were-
10 years.
You were a
in
good
town.
risk.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Fred Legate.
Fred
Fred
Legate.
Legate,
Yep.
yep,
Fred
was the
Legate was the president.
Yep.
And and I think there was somebody else who might have even bid a little bit more than us for it.
Okay.
But they, basically awarded it to us, which was the best thing that ever happened to us financially in our lives. And we bought the building for $175,000, and they lent us $100,000 to fix it up, which was, believe it or not, enough in those days.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we did a lot. We did a lot of work to it.
I can't do my deck for 100.
Yeah,
I know,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
I mean, we
Yeah.
put in a new roof. We did, all new flooring, carpeting. We had booths built. We did lighting. We put in another another hood system in the line. We put in a big outdoor walk-in. I can't believe how much we got done, really. And I learned that later when we had to kind of do the same thing at Cafe Chew, and it was like over 3 times that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we opened the Beehive in 92 and then ultimately sold Marshland 2 years later in 94 and then just focused on the Beehive Tavern.
So you did have a period where you were doing both.
But yes, we had, and I should also add that in, so 82 we started Marshland, in probably 80, I'm going to say that it must have been 84 or 85. We opened Sandwiches at Russell's Corner.
Okay.
And we did that for a couple of years. And, that was the lesson I learned the difference between owning a job and owning a business, because if it just didn't generate enough income to make it really worthwhile, because if I hired a manager and the people to run it for me, because I had to be at Marshland, it just wasn't. Whereas when I sold it to 2 brothers who had no payroll, no workman's comp, none of that overhead.
Right.
And they made a very nice living, but they had to do the work, kind of like being a hairdresser.
Yeah.
Your
own destiny.
If you're not there to do it, you're not going to make the money yourself. So, so after a couple of years, we sold that, and then the Little Pine brothers took that over from us, and they did a great job, and they had a great run there.
Okay.
And then in 2000, so we were at the Beehive, and it was a hit.
What was the menu?
Well, it was huge. It had, in fact, I think I found one the other day, and a sandwich is $3.95.
Can you imagine?
In
Wow, it's like a
1992,
cup of coffee today.
I know.
Yeah.
It was more than you
Right?
can't get a cup of coffee
Right?
for $3.95.
Yeah.
So it was salads, it was sandwiches, it was fried seafood, baked seafood, broiled steaks. We did baby back ribs. We did lamb chops. We had mashed potatoes, baked potatoes, the vegetable of the day. We had a huge salad station. We even baked all of our own dinner rolls.
Wow.
You know, we had an onion dill roll that
Okay.
actually Tobin baked.
Mhm.
And they became very popular. And we baked all of our own desserts. I think that's why we, to be honest with you, have done well in the restaurant business in general, is because we've always done everything kind of homemade.
Yep.
Yeah.
It makes a
And
difference.
it does. And it
Yeah.
was not,
Yep.
you know, it was unique. And like we never bought a salad dressing. And
Okay.
I'm a person who, like, if I,
You made
as
your
soon
own
as I
dressing.
take a salad bite, we made 4 dressings.
Okay.
So I am a blue cheese dressing
Me too.
connoisseur.
Yep. Yep.
I don't like my blue cheese too vinegary. My
Yep.
blue cheese dressing.
Shouldn't
Okay.
have any vinegar.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like sometimes it's a little too tangy.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
That's out of a bottle.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's the
Yes.
preservative.
That's
you're
how I
tasting.
can tell.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
how I can tell.
Yeah, I mean, I think we made ours with crumbled the blue cheese, folded it into sour cream,
Mhm.
and then I think we folded a little mayonnaise into that, if I can. And that was about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So simple.
You know, and
so
then I think,
simple.
and then maybe like some cream to
Yeah.
get it so that it was smooth enough that you could
Pour,
you know,
yeah,
you'd
yeah,
pour, you could get it off a ladle.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah.
And what did we? Oh, we used to serve buffalo wings.
Okay.
And then
Oh.
people who said, "Oh, can I get the blue cheese dressing?"
Oh yeah.
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 But
Yeah.
remember the celery sticks? And the
Sure.
Oh
buffalo
yeah.
wings?
Oh, they
Yeah,
still
the
do it.
carrots. Oh yeah.
They
Yeah.
still.
Yep.
Yeah.
I actually I go to Buffalo every year,
Mhm.
at least once, and the original place that invented the buffalo wings
Oh,
is
yeah.
called the Anchor Bar
Okay.
in Buffalo.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. So,
So that restaurant was very popular. I might be making this up, but there's a radio jingle in my head that goes
Oh, yeah.
something like "Everybody's buzzing for the."
everybody's buzzing, grab great food.
Yes.
Everybody's buzzing, getting into my
Yes.
food. Everybody's buzzing. It ain't no time because everybody's buzzing about the beehive.
That's it. That's it.
Did
So
you write
that?
that?
I did not, but that was probably, well, it's funny. It was called, you know, in those days, there was no internet.
Yeah. Right.
So you either did
was a radio.
newspaper,
Yeah.
magazine, or radio. And
Yeah.
so, you know, for restaurants, radio was kind of the way to go. And so we were, QRC was the #1 radio station. So, you know, we whittled it down that, you know, with our budget, that was really about all we could do.
Mhm.
And that we had to do it, you know, well, and we
Yeah.
had to do it, either do it or not do it.
Yeah.
So we committed ourselves to a pretty, you know, good schedule there. And then they just approached me one day and said, "We've got this guy that does audio images, and, you know, would you like to, you remember Thompson's Clam Bar?"
I was just going to say,
That's
I
where
was
the
going to
tasty
quiz you to
clams
remember.
are. Yeah.
Hey, where are you going? I'm going to Thompson's Clam Bar.
Taste his clams are.
Yes.
So anyway,
we grew up with
Yeah.
it.
so I
Right.
thought, well, yeah, let's do it. So it was interesting because, so we did that, and, you know, they were playing the radio, but
Mhm.
it was funny because I got a call from the Cape Cod Times about, we weren't open for that long, maybe 2 years. And they said, you know, we're doing this survey, and, I thought they were trying to sell me something, but they basically said, you know, one of the things that we have discovered is yours is the second most recognized jingle in the restaurant category. You know, so what we did was what they did was they went around to you know, Joe Schmo, and they said, we're going to name like a business, and you tell us which one comes to mind first. So
Right.
if I say pharmacy,
Yep.
you say
Fair.
CVS.
CVS.
Yeah.
Right.
There.
Yeah.
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 Boy, you dated.
Yeah.
What did you say?
Fair
Yeah.
pharmacy. Yeah. It's going
Right,
down.
from like
Yeah.
1,000 years ago.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's a part of my
Yeah, there you
historic
go.
tour.
Yeah.
No. It is in Fort Jarvis
Yeah.
Street, though.
Right.
I see you have a copy of that here. Anyway, so they said when we got to the restaurant thing, they said, "What's the #1? What restaurant comes to name?" We're going to say restaurant. You tell us which one comes to name first.
Mhm.
And the one that came to mind first or second was us.
Okay.
And I think the first one in those days was the Daniel Webster Inn, because, you know, they
Oh,
they
yeah.
used to do a lot of marketing.
Really?
You know, a
Okay.
lot of marketing. They brought a lot of people to Sandwich. I will give,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
the Catanias. They
Yep.
really did. They
Yep.
they much more than you see today. They were
Okay.
very advertise, you know, very much into
Yeah,
advertising.
so
and
people that aren't
promotion.
familiar, that's another historic place. I think
Yeah.
early 1700s.
Yeah.
It's a nice inn down the street with a restaurant. And,
Yep.
yeah,
That
nice
could be
place,
an episode.
It
nice,
is.
nice
Yeah.
place to stay.
Yes.
if you're in the
Yeah.
area.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's, you know, it's the site of the Fessenden Tavern, which was the revolutionary tavern in
Yeah.
town. The Newcomb Tavern was where the Tories went, and
Right.
Fessenden was where,
Right.
and that ultimately burned down, and the Daniel Webster was built, as a reproduction. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's a great place, and has that colonial atmosphere and
Yeah.
ambiance,
Mhm.
and the Beehive was a little bit like that. We sort
Yep.
of we're going for like an English pub style place.
Okay.
And we had wooden booths, and it was incredibly popular. In fact, I had brought a pit photograph
Okay.
of opening night. We made the mistake of announcing
Okay.
that we were going to be open, and which I've learned the lesson, always do a soft opening, but
Okay.
I don't know whether you can see, but that's the line of people waiting under the canopy to get
That
in.
is that
So
is
we opened the door, and it
incredible.
was like, oh my God.
So
We'll
scan that in.
we'll post this
Okay.
online
Yeah.
for the viewers.
Yeah.
But I mean, you've got a full house.
Yeah.
You're not even open
right,
yet.
right.
Yeah.
It's not even, they're just waiting. And it was like,
Yeah.
it was hilarious actually,
Yeah.
because as it turned out, almost everybody that came was a friend or acquaintance.
So they were
been to our
kind.
other restaurant. And,
Sure.
yeah, they were kind when I had to go
Yeah.
out and say, well, you've all had a nice drink and an appetizer,
Right.
and it's on the house because you're not getting dinner.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's not happening. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
It's just,
no.
it was just, and it was, I always remember, that night a waitress comes running up to me and says, well, we need more sour cream. Where's the sour cream? I said, it's out in the walk. And she said, where's the walk-in?
I don't
And
even know, right?
I'm in trouble.
Yeah, right.
So we opened like the 4th of July, that restaurant, and we had to close once. I think we had to close like 4 consecutive Mondays just to have all the staff come in and say like, what went wrong, what went right,
Yep.
or we need a refrigerator here where we pick up the food because you have to have a place
Yeah.
where we put the butters and the sour
Yep.
creams, and you haven't thought of that, or
Right.
we need bus stations out in the dining room because when I clear tables, I can't go
Yep.
back to the kitchen. I've got to be able to go back and forth to a busing station.
Yep.
So we had cabinet maker build a couple of those and those kinds of things. And then, after like 4 weeks where we had it down, we were up and running, and it was insanely busy. People would show up like on a Saturday night, and you'd kind of sheepishly say, well, it could be an hour and a half before there's a table ready. Like, I know you're not going to like it.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
And
We love it so much. We'll wait all night.
and there was a little bar, and people would make friends, and a lot of regulars, a lot of people came, and a lot of people expected that. Like, we know when we go, we're going to wait for an hour, and we'll run into something we know.
It comes at night. It comes
and we'll have a little, get together in the bar and party with people, and so that was, that was a fun thing. But I was so lucky to have this. I mean, Tobin and I say that to ourselves now. Of him in that particular, Cafe Chew and Marshland as well, because all of them were like the little restaurants that could, in a way. It was like, I cannot believe how busy this is.
Yeah.
And so, when I think back to all, like, that's why, when you were asking like the food you served, the size of the menu, when we were going to move on to Cafe Chew, we thought this is going to be a piece of cake.
Yeah.
It's like going to be the cold station at the Beehive.
Right.
It's going to be soup, salads, and sandwiches.
Yep,
No broiler, no steaks,
Yeah.
no lamb chops, no fried food. I do not want a fry later in the building.
Yeah.
No baked. We had
Right.
a whole line of baked. Baked squirrel, seafood platters, all that stuff. And it's like, this is going to be a piece of, and then it turned into another one of like 4 of us prepping our hearts out in the basement to keep up with the food that they're selling out the
Cafe
out
Chew
the house.
is obviously still there, and it's a great place. Sandwiches,
Soup,
baked goods, soups.
great baker.
Yep.
Um,
It's the lines out the door.
Yeah.
And if you go there on a Friday, Saturday in the summer, they move you along really fast, but it's so popular. People love it. And I mean, you guys, I think you sold it 2 years ago or 3?
2. 3. No, it's been 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
3 years ago, the new owners are, I
Never missed a beat. Really.
No, never missed a beat.
Are you still helping them out a little bit?
Well, I would if I needed to, but for the most part, we left all of our staff there, and the most of the, all the important ones are still there.
Yeah.
I mean, like all the people that are prepping the food, making the soup, prepping the food, keeping consistency in that regard, are all still the same people.
Yep.
So,
that says a lot.
And most, I'd say half of or more, 2/3 of the people that are actually preparing.
Yep.
So there's 2 parts to that operation. A lot of people don't realize in the basement is where that's brain central. Well, that's where all the baking, the slicing, the dicing,
Yep.
the walk-ins,
Yep.
all the food prep is done down there. And the people that you see upstairs, they're just assembling.
Mhm.
You order a turkey sandwich, they're not slicing the turkey, they're not portioning the turkey.
So, because I
They
see
just-
people coming in the back door.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
to get downstairs, you
yes,
have to go
that's where
outside.
all the
Yeah.
deliveries come.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
that's a whole world unto itself, the basement.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
the upstairs is a flurry of people, buying food and and assembling it is what I would call it.
Mhm.
They're downstairs, making that soup that they're ladling out, or
Mhm.
the sauce,
Yeah.
the spreads, the
Yeah.
salad dressings. And like I said, it would take 4 or 5 of us, like at breakneck speed
Mhm.
in the summertime
To just keep
to
pumping that
keep
food
up.
out.
And-
Yeah.
Just pumping, just
Yep.
slicing that turkey, slice that ham, get
Right, yeah. Yep.
making soups.
Yeah.
I'd have like 10 gallons of soup,
Mhm.
a head at a time.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
crazy.
So do you miss it?
I don't miss the responsibility at all because, it does weigh on you. I think the restaurant business is very tough. It's because it's immediate and it's
Oh
like
yeah.
you,
Every day is
it's
Yeah.
right. And it's like you can't really screw it up. And it's like and so, like I used to say, if everybody shows up and everything's working,
Mhm.
it's not a bad day.
Okay.
But if you get in and all of a sudden the walk-in is down,
Mhm.
or so and so is called in sick, and they're
Mhm.
like a major player, and
Yep.
Yeah.
like
Yep.
what do we, and they haven't gotten somebody to work for them. It's
Mhm.
like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Those are you're pulling your hair out. And also, just being a small business
Yeah.
on Cape Cod, in the wintertime we were very, by most standards, very successful, but nonetheless, you still wring your hands when it starts to snow on Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're
Yeah.
relying on Fridays and
I
Saturdays
forget,
to
Yeah.
get to
were you open
Yeah.
during COVID?
Yeah, to believe it or not, COVID was the best thing financially
Yeah, because
in to
Yeah.
our business, really, because
the takeout.
because takeout wasn't expensive.
Yep.
Like, think about it. Like in those days, you could get a sandwich with a bag of chips and a pickle and a soda for under $15.
Yep.
Maybe even throw in a cookie. I can't
Yep.
remember because
Yep.
it was, prices have gone up so
Oh, I know.
much
Mhm.
since. But
Mhm.
during COVID, I know that for $15 you could easily get a takeout lunch. And I would compare that to other upscale restaurants that we tried to support. And you'd order a prime rib or a filet mignon or a steak, and you get it home and it's been steamed
Yeah.
in the box.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
still $50.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
It's kind of like,
Yep.
so it was, we were a cheap alternative, and like a pizza, the pizza shops, the sub shops,
Mhm.
places like FHU,
Yep.
we went gangbusters.
Mhm.
But the main reason being we had outdoor seating.
Ah,
And,
so you could open,
Right.
whereas an indoor place,
Right.
they couldn't open till later,
later,
right?
right.
Yeah.
So, you weren't supposed to, there was no indoor dining at all anywhere. And
Yeah.
then eventually they said, okay, you can dine out, but you have to do it outdoors.
Okay.
And so everybody improvised.
Yeah.
And, remember they took half of Main Street, Hyannis. And I don't
They
know whether
did.
you remember the right-hand lane of
They did.
Main Street, Hyannis
Yep.
was
They
set
put those
aside
Jersey
for
barriers down.
right,
Yeah.
for
Yep.
outdoor cafes. But
Yep.
that was one of the appeals to Cafe Chu from the beginning for us in terms of buying it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we looked and we thought, do you hear these 2 outdoor patios? They're not even furnished. Nobody's got it. Really, in 2009, when we opened, I can't think of anywhere really that had a place where you could take your dog.
Yep.
And that turned people on. They
Yeah.
loved that
Yeah.
idea
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
bringing their dog to breakfast or lunch
Mhm.
and sitting outside. And I'm a gardener, so I, had nice potted plants and flowers and tried to make it a nice little ambience, and we had music and,
Mhm.
so, so as soon as they said, well, you can go out to eat again, but you have to eat outside, boom, we had the best summer we ever had,
Okay.
believe
Yep.
it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
People
it
just wanted to get out.
yeah. And in fact,
Yeah,
we enlarged,
yeah, yeah.
we ended ultimately investing in, make probably quadrupling the size of the patio, the front, because initially the front patio only had 4 tables on it.
Okay.
And then
Now there's like, I don't
Now
know,
there's-
6
Yeah,
or
now
8
you
or
have
it's
something,
no,
right?
both
both side
there's a
thing.
whole
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get the front and the back.
front,
Yeah. Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
front was just a small little paver
Mhm.
patio with 5 tables on it.
Okay.
And then we had the best guy that runs the poured concrete
Okay.
came
Yep.
when they press it and
Mhm.
make it look like bluestone, and they
Yep.
that's a massive patio.
Mhm.
And so we got to have a lot more tables, and
Yeah.
it we also remember did the brownie bomb. I
Yes.
invented this. I just
Yes.
did this funny
Yeah.
thing where we basically made brownies in like a small paper cup,
yeah.
and then dipped it in
Yeah.
molten chocolate and sort of.
You were selling out of
Yeah,
those things.
yeah.
I remember
Because
online,
we-
like
right,
they've got two, go
right.
get them, right? I mean, they were the hot commodity.
It was sort of like the anecdote to COVID. Like
Yes, go a brownie
come and
bomb.
get a brownie,
Yeah.
splurge and get yourself a brownie bomb, and they really caught on.
Yeah.
I mean, I was making them every day.
That's where I met Tobin. I mean, I remember the first time I went there on my credit card, and he's in the back, and he's taking it, and he looks at it. Frederick Kirsch. That would be cherry in German. I'm like, that's right. That's
Oh,
right.
okay.
Yeah.
That's a great segue. So what year did you and Tobin meet up?
Tobin and I met just before New Year's of 1986. In the fall of 1985. It was very interesting. had been reading a book, Creative Visualization by Shakti Gawain, and I was single, and so I was visualizing,
Okay.
the man that I was going to marry.
Okay.
And and one of the criteria that I had, this is really a funny thing. One of the things I had was I wanted to meet somebody who wore tie to work.
Okay.
Meaning, I just don't want to.
Yeah.
I dated waiters.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, some waiters wear
I guess
ties.
right. I
There you
guess
go.
it was like
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know why I had that in my mind, but
Okay.
I guess it was like I want a professional is really what it
Yeah.
meant.
Yeah. Yep.
So one night I go into Mallory Dock,
Mhm.
the bar,
Yep.
the gay
Yep.
bar in Hyannis, which was so much fun on Friday and Saturday
Mhm.
nights back in the 80s.
Yep.
And I look up and there's Tobin and he has a tie on.
Kismet.
And I knew
Yep.
that is going to be,
Yep.
Yep.
some
That's the
some
one.
enchanted evening.
Okay.
Yeah.
You may see a stranger,
Yep.
but I did know. And it actually, I sort of I was actually in I wouldn't call it a relationship. I was seeing somebody at the time,
Okay.
really nice guy,
Mhm.
nothing bad to say about him, really good guy.
Yep.
But it just wasn't, he wasn't the one.
Got it.
And so I had to extricate myself from that as well
Mhm.
before I
Yep.
could really pursue Tobin. And what was funny was that, so I went to a party on New Year's Eve of 1986 when it was going to become 1986, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
And I was at a friend's I went to a party in Brewster with some friends, and we're at the party, and they go like, "This party stinks, let's go to Mallory Dock. Let's go to Mallory Dock." So I'm going to go to Sandwich when we leave Mallory Dock, and
Mhm.
they're going to go to Brewster. So I said, "All right, well, I'll take my car and I'll meet you guys there."
Mhm.
Okay. Well, they were behaving on their way in like they were being so silly that the bouncer in those days, the last place you drank was the place that got blamed if you got
Oh,
into
right.
Yes,
accident
Yes.
right.
Yes.
while you were drunk driving.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the bouncers would kind of think, "Oh, if you've already got a package on, we're
Yeah.
not letting you in." So
Yeah.
these guys were, behaving so silly as they approached the door that he said, "I think you boys have already had too much to drink and I'm not letting you in."
Okay.
So I'm inside now by myself.
Oh, you made it in.
I made it
Okay,
in, yeah.
yeah.
And because I got there before them,
Mhm.
and there's Tobin, and I
Yeah.
think, here's my chance.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yep. So I throw out the line.
There you go.
Yep. Yep.
Start reeling it in. So
Yep.
So I said to him, so at the time I owned Marshland, and I said to him, "Oh, well, what do you do? Blah, blah, blah. I have a restaurant, but we close early tomorrow. We'll
Mhm.
be closing. We close at, noontime tomorrow." And that was my test.
Yeah.
And I
Yep.
thought, yeah.
See
if
how
this guy is
goes?
really interested.
Yep.
I'm going to look out into the dining room. He's going to come in at 11:45.
Mhm.
Because
Yep.
then he knows I can go out and play.
Yep.
Because I'll be off work.
Yep.
So, and he'll say later, "Oh, you invited yourself along."
Right. Yeah.
So anyway, I went to work and I said to the people working, I go, "Well, I met my husband last night."
Okay.
Yeah.
And
knew.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
Like,
fast
yeah.
forward,
Yeah.
first gay couple to be married is
Well, we weren't the first gay couple to be married. We were the first gay couple to get a marriage license.
Okay.
We were
Oh, all right.
determined.
That
All right.
counts.
Yeah, we were
Yeah, that's a-
determined. We were
That's a
going
big deal.
We were
Yep.
going to sit on the steps. In fact, I have a photograph
Yep.
that you guys can scan of the two of us
Yep.
reading a newspaper, waiting for the
I
town hall annex to open.
I love this. So it's not open yet. You guys are there.
Right.
So we'll post this online. But
Oh,
this is-
wow.
yeah, this is a big deal because you guys were on the front of the
That's right,
Enterprise,
yep.
Sandwiches newspaper,
Yeah.
and there you are, and
Yeah.
that is
So that seven same-sex couple applied for it.
7.
And we were the first ones there.
That is
So
amazing.
that was
That is congratulations.
yeah. And
to
the
you guys.
photographer came, and And then it was funny because I think it was the guy who was the town engineer at the time was passing by and he stops. He goes, "What are you guys doing?" And we said, we're going to get a marriage license. And he goes, "Oh, Mazel Tov." And so we said to him, "Will you take our picture?"
Yeah.
And
I
he
think
did.
that's so fun. Just another day.
We got there I'm like, I don't want to get there when they open. I want to know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like where
You want to see them.
Yeah, I want to be in the place, waiting.
Right.
Right. No, that's
Yeah.
So anyway, getting back to New Year's Eve, to the New Year's Day. So sure enough, I go to work and I say to the girls working, I go, my husband, the guy that's going to be my husband last night, and I go and I'll know if he comes in at 11:45.
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
I will know. I've got that one.
I got the hook in.
So, right. So sure enough, 11:45 rolls around. That window that I'm cooking and I'm looking out the window, and sure enough, 11:45, the door opens and in he walks, and we've been together ever since.
Wow. That is incredible. That is incredible.
Yep.
That's 11:45.
So we went out for a movie. I said, we go and come to my house. I got to take a shower and get this grease off me and get changed. And we went to a movie in Cambridge.
Okay.
And and we've been
That's awesome.
together ever since.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
And you guys are like so active in the town. 4th of July parade. The two of you are in your colonial garb with your tricorn hats, walking in the parade. You're so involved in the politics in the town. I get a call from Tobin. I need to put some lawn signs in your lawn. Okay, go ahead. Come home. There they are.
Well, interestingly enough, what really got us motivated to become sort of political. I mean, we're civic minded. I think that, it's, I love our community. Our community has been so, accepting and generous in terms of, patronizing our restaurants and giving us business, that I always felt like I should give back. But I also felt dug in here. This is home. This is what I want the town to get. If I can do something to make it better, I want to. But politically, we were never really all that political until the issue of gay marriage surfaced.
Yeah.
Okay.
And quite frankly,
2004, 2003. It was
2004 was when
it was
legalized.
And now we have to fight to keep it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ridiculous.
Yes.
But
true.
One of the things that it made us realize was, like men from our generation, like you weren't going to have children.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like gay people don't think that way today at all anymore.
No.
Like it's like, well, I'm going to get married and have a house and have kids, and kids were out of the, kids were just like, that was one of the things my generation's parents cried about. What do you mean?
No
grandchildren? No grandchildren?
Yep.
But also, we had accepted second-class status. Like, we aren't going to be married. We aren't going to have the same benefits. We aren't going to have the same rights. We aren't going to have the same responsibilities either.
Mm-hmm.
It's not all, it's so like the whole Social Security thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If you have one partner who makes a lot more money than the other, just
it wasn't even.
It wasn't right. It was like when that person, like Gary Studd's husband got nothing when he died. He should have gotten his.
He should have gotten
his pension. But didn't. I remember that being sort of like he was our congressman at the time. But so that, like, what happened was really we went to see our state rep because they were going to vote on it initially. And that was like, well, you don't vote for civil rights because otherwise, it's like,
wait a minute.
If you left it up to, you just can't do it that way. That has to, it should always come from the judicial branch, really, because to determine, somebody's civil rights are being infringed upon.
Right.
So, so they were going to have a vote. And so we went to see our state rep at the time and, sat down and basically he was like, not even on my radar.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was like, this isn't going to happen. He was like, he shared with us that he had a, lesbian sister. And he goes, and my mother doesn't want her to be able to get married. And I thought, what? That is so crazy.
Right. Yeah.
So anyway, but when we left, one of the last things I said to him that I think sort of raised his eyebrows a little bit, I said to him, it's not going to be we who win the right. It's going to be us and all of our friends and family, the relatives, the people who wake up and say, I can remember years ago, who was that activist that got killed in San Francisco?
Milk?
Harvey Milk always said, the biggest thing you can do is come out.
Yeah.
Because then, your family and friends go, I love Mark.
Yeah.
He's a great uncle. He's a great brother. He's a great friend. He's a great co-worker. And, oh, I didn't know he was gay. Now I do. And that doesn't make it, doesn't make any difference at all.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And, and he doesn't fit the stereotype or whatever. So, You know, so that we walked out of that office that day, and I was like, just had steam coming my ears, thinking, you know what, I can't believe what I have been willing to put up with.
Yeah.
You know, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, why have I never like really thought about this?
Yeah.
And so that was what really pushed us into getting politically active.
Yeah.
And we
Right.
basically have stayed that way.
Yeah.
I mean,
since.
you've been on town committees,
Yeah.
elected, volunteer.
Yeah.
I mean, you are synonymous, and Tobin too, both you guys, and thank you for everything you've done. You guys are synonymous with helping Sandwich out in so many different ways.
Yeah, well, it's like I said, it's home, you know,
Yeah.
and it's like you
Yep.
should be looking to make your home better, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, if you can.
yeah.
So the other thing that you do in town, and I know you do it for fun, is you're one of the docents at the Dexter Grist Mill.
Well, I was.
Oh.
You know, but part
Uh-oh.
yeah, no.
Breaking
And I
news?
loved it. Well, let me tell you, if anyone out there
Yeah.
is listening to this or
Yeah.
watching this, I don't know if it's both.
Yeah.
Two of the most incredible things in our town are the two historic sites that our town own. And, you know, one of the things that I think if we're as New Englanders that we really take for granted, and that's something that like I do a historic tour and that I point out is that, you know, a lot of places don't have this experience, don't have this architecture, doesn't have the ambiance and the charm that, you know, that is here because, you know, we've been here since 1637.
Mhm.
And the story of the Hoxie House, how people lived, how they, you know, got by,
Yeah.
Yep.
the grist mill, the necessity of it.
Yep.
And
The-
if you haven't
you know,
seen episode
yeah.
1, we took
Episode
you to the
1.
Hoxie House,
Yeah.
so go back and
Okay.
watch episode 1.
Yep.
Yep.
But you know, and both of those were purchased by the town at a time when we had a very small population. And I think, you know, I'm very proud of the fact that our town, you know, understands the legacy that, you know, we are providing to not just our town. Like, you know, this stuff isn't just,
No,
you know,
this is
preserving
national.
right.
This is
it's-
preserving
it's like
America's
America.
history.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yes.
And you know, a lot of people, you know, most people in town, I think get it because we do get through. I serve on the CPC, which is the Community Preservation
Mhm.
Committee, and you know, we can only spend money on three things, which are historic preservation, recreation, and or land, you know,
Mhm.
conservation,
Okay.
and housing. So we try to, you know, be even-handed in that. So we, you know, we've supported a lot of historic, you know, right now the town hall is being finished,
Mhm.
phase
Yeah.
2.
Yep.
And
When's
one,
that going to be done?
probably late fall.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
they,
And then once it's done, what are we doing with it?
well, we'll continue to have the Art Alliance in the basement, in the first floor. So the Art Alliance leases the first floor of the building in order to create, you know, which really adds to the cultural ambiance of the village. Something like that is what belongs there, really. And then the upstairs, which is a spectacular, I don't know whether you know it, but that town hall was built, I think it was in 1853. The state of Massachusetts said, you got to quit having town meetings in churches.
Okay.
So
Separating church and
Ah.
state.
right.
Okay.
So up until then, town meeting was in the First Congregational Church, which
Yeah.
is at the corner of River Street.
The Elvis Church?
No, the other one.
The other one.
The doll the one that had become a doll
143
museum.
Main. Okay, got it.
And
Okay.
now is the home of the Wilsons.
Okay. Yep.
So that was the church
Mhm.
in the
Mhm.
17th century.
Okay.
And then even into there was the First Christ Church that was the biggest church, could hold the most people.
Okay.
So town meeting was held there.
Mhm.
Votes were, and if I'm not mistaken, I think even taxes were distributed through parishes and churches. Maybe
Okay.
I'm not sure, but anyway,
Okay.
one thing I do know is they said you can't
Cut
have
it out.
town. You know, you have
Yeah.
to separation of church and state. So that was the first town hall built in Massachusetts in response to the separation of church and state.
Oh,
No
wow.
kidding.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
I didn't
so
know
there's
that.
some history there.
Right. So
Yeah.
the upstairs of that building was built for the purpose of conducting the town meeting, but it also provided a space where they had silent movies back in
Mhm.
the day.
Mhm.
In fact, we endowed a piano. We didn't endow. Jill Haley's family endowed the old piano that's
Okay.
upstairs. So
Mhm.
that was preserved. And then
Mhm.
ultimately now it has its own designated account in town. In town, if anything needs to be, you know, refurbished on it.
Okay.
There were dances, there were concerts, there were, you know, readings, there were, you know, shows and things.
To this day, right?
And
been to a
now,
concert
so
there.
that's where I'm heading. So
Yep.
right after the town hall was you can't really use the word remodeled. It was restored.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
now they would have much preferred to have offices up there, but
Mhm.
you have to bring it to what it was
Okay.
when it was in 1853. So,
Okay.
so it remained town offices, but there were never enough of them.
Mhm.
You know, we were still, and we grew so rapidly that we just never got around to consolidating and actually having one town hall until
Yeah.
just recently.
Now we've got a new
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
So we have a new town hall, and some people say, "What do you need two town halls for?" Well, we don't have two town halls. We have a
Mhm.
cultural center,
Mhm.
and we have a performance space that also serves as a space for where the selectmen meet. So it still is a part of town government.
Yeah.
You know, the selectmen meet
Mhm.
there, the finance committee meets there. I think
Mhm.
the school committee meets there.
Yeah. Historic.
The Town Hall Preservation Trust
Mhm.
meets
Mhm.
there.
Yeah.
Um, so this Town Hall Preservation Trust was started at the time to kind of say, we can't believe how badly, this fell into disrepair. We have to make sure that there's an oversight group that's
Mhm.
standing on top of this. And I wasn't a part of the original group, but then I'm a part of the group that exists now. And really, we don't have those problems. The town takes very good care of it. In fact, as evidenced by the fact that they're continuing with the second phase.
Right.
But we really function more as a group to help enhance that performance space upstairs. So,
Okay.
we found a baby grand piano. We've done, mic work. We've done speakers. We've done lighting. We had a man donate it's called a scrim, which is it's like uh, I don't want to say a sheet, but it's a screen that you project background onto. And
Okay.
it's really fascinating
Mhm.
because you can create with it, like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
sense
Different
of being
things.
different, being
Yeah.
in a room or
Yeah.
whatever.
Changes
Okay.
the whole
Yeah.
mood of the room.
And
yeah.
Mhm.
and if you have never been to a performance at the old Sandwich Town Hall,
Go.
go. The Art Alliance puts on a lot of different activities. The library does some things.
Mhm.
Different groups, we had put on a couple of things
Mhm.
as a group, but it's a fabulous space, and it's an incredible historic significant building. It's one of I always refer to those buildings as being the jewels in the crown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I think that's you know I'm if I've said it once, I've said it a million times. Historic preservation and Sandwich is economic preservation. This is why
Well,
people come here.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I want to get into
You know,
that because I've heard you talk about this and advocate for that because it is good
It
business
is.
to do that.
Right. Well, there's certain kinds of travelers. There's what we call a cultural heritage visitor.
Okay.
So,
What's that?
so a cultural heritage visitor is somebody. I'm a cultural heritage visitor. If
Okay.
I go on vacation,
Mhm.
I want to go somewhere that gives me an authentic, like our last vacation was Denmark.
Okay.
Now
Yep.
we went to, we went we went to just incredibly beautiful countryside,
Mhm.
little,
Mhm.
thatched roof,
Mhm.
grandmother's house, what is the word that they use? Not charm, but they cozy. It's
Cozy.
very
Okay.
important to
Okay.
the Danes.
Yeah.
So, you go to the Highlands of Scotland, Provence in France,
Mhm.
Tuscany if you go to Italy,
Mhm.
the Cotswolds if you're going to England. You're not going for outlet mall shopping. You're not
Right.
going to
Yep.
gamble.
Yep.
A lot of people love Las Vegas,
Right.
love New
They
York
want to,
City.
yeah.
Those
Yep.
are a whole different
Yep.
Yep.
kind of head that you're going with to
Yep.
a place like that. Whereas if you're coming to Sandwich and you're touring the Gristmill and the Hoxie House and you're going to heritage museums and gardens and you're going to the
Daniel
Glass
Webster.
Museum,
Yep.
you're staying
Yep.
at the Daniel Webster and
Yep.
you're, one of the bed and breakfasts or,
So that's a different type of
and
traveler, right?
yeah. And they're specifically really coming because they don't want, they want
Mhm.
that purity. They want,
Yeah.
well, it's what the Office of Travel and Tourism used to call it, an authentic American
Yeah.
experience.
Authenticity.
I remember that
Okay.
they were talking about, increasing airplane, routes. I believe it was back in the like 90s from like the Middle East. And the woman was questioned, like, well, why did so many people, because Massachusetts is really up there. It's like in top 5 places in America to visit. I think
Okay.
I want to say like Disney World might be one or Las Vegas might be one, and then it's like Disney World, New York City,
Mhm.
and then Boston.
Okay.
And I think Massachusetts is really high up there.
Really?
A third of our state's income is derived from tourism.
No kidding.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Alone.
So we're
So,
talking billions.
It's
Billions.
billions on the Cape.
Yeah.
I think I just saw Dylan Fernandez doing it. I think he said $2.6 billion comes from just
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
raised in
Yeah.
just
Yeah, I
on
mean,
Cape Cod.
listen, even the Boston Red Sox,
Yep.
when they weren't doing well, were still banging it out because of the historic nature
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
ballpark.
Yes.
Right.
People were coming to just
For that.
for that.
Yes.
They didn't care about the game.
Right.
Right.
They just
Right.
wanted to be
You
at
know,
Fenway
and-
Park.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
fact that we have restaurants, that we have shops, it doesn't. Of course you got to eat.
Yep.
You've got to
Yep.
do. You want other diversions as well. It doesn't mean that it's all about just museums. And
Mhm.
so some people will say, well, no, they're not coming. They're coming because of Fisherman's View, or
Mhm.
because of
Mhm.
this restaurant, or because, and it's like, no, it's all a package.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like we're,
Yeah.
one of my little stints was on the visitor services board in Sandwich,
Right.
and I can remember going to seminars and conventions, if you will, for the Office of Travel and Tourism, and I can always remember them saying, if you are in a community where you have multiple sites and multiple attractions, it
Mhm.
really behooves you to try to work together as a group. And I try to
Yes.
encourage that. And
Yeah.
it's not, I don't believe that there's really enough of that going on.
Yeah.
And so, for me, I look at sandwiches like the Disney World
Yeah.
of,
Yeah. Right.
of historic preservation,
Yep.
of cultural tourism. And it's like Magic Mountains advertising Magic Mountain and saying, instead of sort of saying, come to Disney World,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
come
Yeah.
to Disney World and enjoy.
Yeah.
I think at the last count, there are 10 museums or cultural
Right.
Yeah,
institutions.
and a lot of the
in town.
things you mentioned, we're eventually going to bring to you on this show,
Mm.
including Heritage
Yeah.
Gardens, which I
Yep.
call the Disney World of Gardens.
It's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
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 it's
we're getting
amazing.
there.
Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I moved to Sandwich, I didn't know about it,
Yeah.
Okay.
and
Yep.
the first time I went there, it's like, because I went to high school in Dennis Yarmouth.
Mhm.
It's like, how did I not know about
Yeah.
this place?
Right,
This is
right.
amazing.
And
Now
let
it's
me
in the
ask you, if
backyard.
that were located on Route 28 in Dennis Yarmouth, would it be the same experience?
No, hell no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
It would have been turned into a miniature golf course.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But this is
So,
like,
yeah,
we'll show,
it's
like, you
stunning.
have to
It's
see
stunning.
it to,
It's world class.
yeah, it really is.
It's world class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Glass Museum, I mean, and like I
Yeah.
said already, of the historic sites, I give a tour and I go, I'm not going to embarrass you and make you raise your hand, but how many of you Sandwich residents have never been
Yeah.
to
the Glass-
one of your
yeah.
historic
Yeah.
sites or to the Glass Museum?
I mean, I haven't
Yeah.
been to everything, and
you know,
I haven't.
and it's
Yeah.
and all of them are well worth a visit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
honestly.
Yeah. Play tourist. Steven
Yeah.
and I say that sometimes. Let's go play tourist. You forget that, and when we lived in Boston, same thing. You forget that you lived there.
Yeah.
Let's go
Yeah,
down
I
to the
know.
Glass Museum,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Well, so Tobin's niece, we've had a niece staying with us for the
Mhm.
summer, who's interning as a potter down at Barnstable Pottery, and
Mhm.
she drove here from Iowa with her dad.
Wow.
So now the
Okay.
family is coming, and they're rented an Airbnb for a week. And so, Tobin and I were talking about what, when we're going to spend at least a day with them all.
Yeah. Yep.
And I
Yep.
said, we're going to do our little thing where we leave our house, we walk across School Street, we do the
Mhm.
Hoxie House, we go to the grist mill,
Yeah.
and then we have lunch at the Dunbar House.
Okay.
And you know what?
That's another
You
place.
blow
you
them
have to
away.
see.
Yeah.
And you'll blow them away every time.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
The
You ever-
Dunbar House around Christmas
Yeah.
is one of the most
Yeah.
scenic places.
It's-
It's like Currier and I.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
yeah.
And
yeah.
I went with my wife Nikki for Christmas, and it's just beautifully decked out. But I felt like we were in a Hallmark commercial.
Yes.
But it was
Yep.
all daughters back from college with their mothers.
Yeah.
And me.
Tea, right?
Yeah, and me.
Because
Yeah.
it's tea.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's very true. We went to the Charles Dickens where they had two characters who did the whole
Mhm.
It
It was that man and woman, right?
Right. And what is
Yeah.
the story?
A Christmas Carol.
Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they narrated it through dinner. And
Yeah.
then, and it was, and, we went sort of in costume, the top hats and
Yeah.
overcoats and all that. It was wonderful. But, to do that with a house guest, to do those historic sites and then go out to lunch somewhere at Sandwich,
Yep.
maybe it's not tea.
Mhm.
We do, because we know that's unique for them, but,
Yep.
or Cafe Chu or,
Mhm.
to Marshland or to, Fisherman's View, if you
Mhm.
want a beautiful view of the
Yeah.
water, that blows them away.
Yeah.
Like when I was a docent at the grist mill, virtually anybody that brought their house guests in would finish by looking at them and saying, "This is the best thing
Yeah.
you've done with us
Yeah.
since we came."
Well, you had a money back guarantee,
I
right?
used to tell them people,
$5.
Yeah.
Listen, if you don't have a great time, we'll give you your $5 back.
I'll pay you $5.
That's right. And you never paid out, did
I
you?
tell them
Yep.
that when on the tour, I go, if you
Yep.
do this tour
Yep.
and you don't think it was worth $5 or whatever it is that they're
Yeah,
charging, I said, I'll pay you.
Yep.
Yeah.
And because it really is delightful.
It's
Right.
good stuff.
Yeah, it
It's
Right.
good stuff.
Right.
Well, Bob, it's been great
All right.
to have you.
Thank
We'll
you.
probably have you.
I told you I was a chatterbox.
No,
No, this
that's
is
why we want
great. This was great.
Well, we
This
have
was
to, have
great.
to turn the mic on and sit back.
Right.
So I don't know if Mark told you, but we on every episode we do a shout out and shout down segment.
Okay.
Did he tell you about?
Yeah, a
that?
little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
And now what do I?
So,
Yeah.
so we'll give you. I don't know. You don't have to do it,
Right.
Okay.
but Mark, do you have your shout out?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. So, so for this week, my shout out is going to let me take to the papers here. My shout out is Mother Nature. The last 10 days or so, today not included, have been sunny, cool. Low
Yeah.
low 70s. I mean, right now it's usually 95 degrees and 100% humidity. These last 10 days have been beautiful. If you're on vacation, people go to the beach. I mean, so anyway, I just want to thank Mother Nature. Did great. My shout down is rabbits. And
Shout down.
my
You
shout
don't like
down
the
is
bunnies?
rabbits. Well, listen,
They're eating things.
they're having babies everywhere. They've dug up the grass. They're in our garden again. They're not afraid of us. I can go right up to
You
them.
need
and they
cats.
don't move. We're gonna have to do something, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we have
Right.
double digit.
They just
bunnies.
smell them and stay away.
We need something, yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah,
right.
so Mother Nature, yay. Bunnies,
Okay.
nay.
Okay.
So my shout out this week is the Sandwich Police.
Oh wow,
So
okay.
I live on a busy street, and sometimes stuff happens. Monday night, about 10 o'clock at night, this car coming down Water Street, and it sounded like they were dragging like tin pans. So really slow. They pull over, music's blaring, and this woman is just screaming, ah, in the car. It's just two women.
Yeah.
And, okay, she's frustrated because her
Yeah.
car is broken down.
Yeah.
So, okay, hopefully they have AAA or they're calling for help. 10 minutes go by, 15 minutes go by. The music's still blaring.
Mhm.
They're still yelling.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, do I go out and say
Yeah.
something, or do I just call the police?
Yeah.
So my wife's like, just call the police. Don't call them.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Karen, who are you, Karen?
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah,
I call the police, and I didn't call 911.
Right,
I just called the
Yeah.
2121.
yeah, yeah.
Can't wait to
And I
read
just
about
said-
that.
Yeah, it'll be in, just be in the paper.
I said, listen, it's not an emergency, but there's a car. I guess they're broken down. It sounds like they can't get going,
Mhm.
but they're playing the music. It doesn't seem like they're trying to help themselves. I don't know
Yeah.
what they're doing. Maybe
Yeah.
you can just send somebody. I swear to God, within 2 minutes,
Mhm.
they were there.
Nice.
So they must have been in the, but might
Yeah.
have been.
Yeah.
They were there.
Yep.
And it took a while to
Yep.
deal with these people.
Yeah.
And I think somebody came and picked up the women, and
Okay.
he got a tow truck, and an hour later it was all taken care of. But
Yep.
bang, they were
Nice.
there. So
Nice.
shout out to the Sandwich Police.
Thank you.
They
Sam.
handled it
Great.
really nicely.
Great.
And you could tell the woman was giving them lip,
Yeah.
but he didn't
yeah.
lose his cool.
Yep.
Like he was.
He did, yes,
it,
Elliot.
yeah, it could have
Yes,
right.
yeah,
It could have
yeah.
turned into something, and it didn't.
Good.
So thank
Good.
you for that,
Good.
because I was
Nice.
watching the Red Sox and I was being bothered.
Yes.
I shot down our YouTube how-to videos. Now, normally I love them. If I
Yeah.
need to find out I go to YouTube. That's my go-to. But there's certain ones that they'll leave out that key little piece that you just need
Bastards.
to know. And here's why. They want to come off as the expert. Like, oh, here's how you do it, blah, 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 blah.
Mhm.
But in order to learn that, they probably went through what I was going through. And there's that one thing that hung you up.
Mhm.
And they leave that out. They go over it because they figured it out. And now they're just doing it smoothly.
Okay.
And my suggestion for those who are doing YouTube how-to is show how you went through the process of finding it out yourself,
Share the pain.
and share the pain and share that thing that hung you up.
Okay.
Because there's no way you did it the first time
Mhm.
and did it
And just got it right.
100%. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I always find, like, I'm doing it, and like, I'm doing exactly what you told me to do. Why can't I get this? And so then I start digging deeper on the same subject, and finally I'll find one that addresses that you're probably going to have trouble here.
Yeah.
Here's how I figured this out.
Yeah.
But they should all be like that.
They should.
Yeah.
They should.
You don't have to be the expert. Like you're learning like I'm learning, and show me how you learned.
Right.
So-
We're trying to share that knowledge,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
that, but overall, I love YouTube for finding out, but those ones that don't show me where you got hung up,
Get your act together.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
But
not
that
helpful.
should be the whole purpose for it.
Yeah, it's not
so-
helpful.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, my shout out is to Treehouse for resolving its parking issue.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So
So they
Treehouse is a brewery down by the
Treehouse
beach.
Brewery,
Yeah.
And they're putting in 150 spots, I think, something like that.
I want yeah,
A lot, a lot,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
it, obviously enough that that they can handle.
Yeah.
I know that it's been a hassle for the neighbors to put up with people parking on the street or blocking driveways
Mm-hmm.
and all of the rest of it. But they've been a real boon to. I mean, if we want to be pro economy, people,
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
Where
they,
you
You
gotta
complain about your
yeah,
taxes.
exactly right. And
Yeah.
you
You
complain-
need
yeah,
businesses.
right.
and they
Yeah.
bring a lot
And you know
of
what?
people.
And so my shout down
Okay.
are to those people who, the NIMBYs.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
Not
like,
in my backyard.
it's,
Yep.
Yeah.
it's the people that
Yep.
say we need more of this, we need, until
But not in my
until it affects
backyard.
them,
Right.
Yes.
until it
Right.
affects them.
Yeah.
And we have, so, my backyard is, the Belfry and Bistro.
Yeah. Yep.
Across, Ray's lot,
Yep.
and
Yep.
that went from the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
make
was
no
my church.
noise.
Yeah, that's my church. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like and they're not, and they're fine neighbors. So I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
virtually nothing. I mean,
Mhm.
I think I might, if I were the host, be a little upset with them emptying the dumpsters early.
Oh,
as they do
yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
other than that,
Right.
but
Yeah.
those things happening when it's happening. We went and said, look,
Yep.
we just don't want any outdoor wedding. We don't listen to Daddy's little girl over the
Yeah.
fence
Yeah.
every single Saturday.
Right. Yeah.
And he was
Yep.
like, no, we're all that's
Yep.
if
Yep.
we have a wedding, it's going to be inside. There's no
Yep.
more tented
Yep.
outdoor stuff.
Yep.
And, people, made,
They make
and
accommodations,
right, they make
Yeah.
accommodations,
Yeah.
and it was fine. And
Yep.
it was, and it's been a great addition to the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And he's opened 2 more restaurants since. So,
Oh yeah. So we'll
Yep.
talk to him as well.
Yeah,
So
so,
he's on the list.
Yeah.
so that's
Yep.
so my shout down is to it's like if you want business in town, you have to
Yeah.
I was on the planning board, and I think one of the worst raps, most untruthful raps, really, that Sandwich gets is that we're anti-business.
Yeah.
And
It's not true. It's not true.
It is not true, and it's and there are other reasons why we've never had we're never going to be a destination. We're never going to be the right location for something like a Mashpee Commons.
Mhm.
Even with the Golden Triangle, because when you think about Mashpee Commons, put a pin in the middle of Mashpee Commons and go out 10 miles.
Yeah.
Put a pin in the middle of Sandwich, go out 10 miles, and most of it's Air Force Base
Yep.
and Cape Cod Bay.
Yeah.
And then
Yep.
and then already parts already being serviced
Yeah.
by Mashpee Commons is at the confluence of 3 highways.
Yeah.
130, 20, 151,
Yeah.
151,
and
Right.
28.
Yeah.
Plus think of the population base. Those are the factors that go into like whether you develop, how you develop economically. We have
Right.
almost at build out. I think, other than the Golden Triangle, I think we're
We're
almost
kind of at
at build out.
capacity, right?
with
Yeah. Yeah.
not everything is rented, not everything is full.
Right.
And that's the shame. I mean, I think we're going to probably see a lot of what they call purposing
Mm-hmm.
of some of the retail.
Yep.
Once we have
Yeah.
septic
The
treatment.
Golden
we can-
Triangle is
you know,
this whole area down on what we call Catuit Road,
Yeah.
because that's the name of it.
Yeah.
But it's
It is a
it's-
triangle
it's-
of
yeah,
land.
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
it's a
Right.
it's
Yeah, I
about
think it's
3
58 acres.
3 or 4 plazas
Yeah.
Yeah.
and little stores and I guess it never really took off.
Well,
like they
adjacent
hoped
to that is 58 acres of undeveloped land,
Mm-hmm.
commercial land
Okay.
that the town owns.
Mhm.
That they really want a single buyer for, because otherwise we would be on the
Yeah.
hook for all of the infrastructure
Yeah.
construction. Whereas
Yeah.
if one single buyer takes it over,
Mhm.
then
They do it.
they do it all,
Yeah.
and that's a whole nother story
Yeah.
as well. But
Yeah.
that's a fallacy.
Mhm.
There's conditions for which that have to be set in order to become like a prime location for certain things.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. It doesn't
um,
just happen.
no, and
Right,
it's
yeah.
because of those factors, and we lack them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're a good small business town.
Yeah.
We have, and it's always been like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been a town of
Yeah.
small businesses. that,
Right.
All right. Well, we've talked a lot.
Yeah.
We've learned a lot. So Bob, thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Bob. This
All
was
right.
amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe. Remember to share, comment. Let us know what you want on future episodes.
You know what? You guys might mention how do they find you? Because Tobin said he went to his podcast app.
Oh yeah, we're not
We're not on the
there
app.
yet.
All
You
right.
have to go to YouTube, right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
So,
but we're gonna
all right.
get there. But
Okay.
we'll get there. Yeah.
Well, that's
yeah.
good
We're
for everybody.
strictly on YouTube right
Yeah.
now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
YouTube
that's
only.
good to know.
Yeah.
So so we'll see you next week.
All
Okay.
right.
All right. Bye everybody.
Thank you.